What's going on, growers? It's James Prigioni coming to you live from Jersey. It is March 20th today, the official start of spring. The time to rest is over. The time to get out there, the seeds or opportunities to take advantage of them is now. Let's go. I think the best way for me to start this video is to show you what it looks like right out the back door. We've got the 7 or 8 year old food forest on the right here. As you can see, it's looking nice, looking like a true forest, even when it's in skeleton form. Just wait till the blossoms and the leaves and everything come on. You can almost get lost in there. That's one of the things I love about it. It's like its separate oasis, in my opinion. On the left here, we have the food forest that we just put in recently. This is just its 2nd year. So I hope a lot of you followed along with us as we put this one in. I hope you put your own food forest in and you get to see what it's like to have a thing like this in your own backyard. And you'll notice a lot of the fruit trees are still small. They're young. We have a saying in growing fruit trees and for gardening, it has to do with the trees. It says, on the 1st year they sleep, the 2nd year they creep, and the 3rd year they leap. One thing you'll notice is we've got the wood chips down all where the fruit trees are. That's important because woody species like fruit trees love growing in a fungal dominated soil. That's what the wood chips provide. They provide a perfect environment for the mycorrhizal association for that fungus to come in, and the trees thrive in it. A number of you have been following the channel for years, and you remember when the old food forest was much smaller than it is now. Not only were the trees smaller, but the whole area was smaller. But every year we try to expand. Every year we try to add things. This year we're going to be adding a number of blueberries. So these are 3 Aurora and 2 Elliott. These are late season varieties. It's good when you're growing fruits, perennial ones, to have early season, mid-season, and late. This way you can extend your harvest. And I encourage all you guys to focus on that perennial mindset. It's nice having perennials that every year you come back, they're expanding, you're getting more fruit, and they're actually working for you instead of something like an annual they have to just every year replant again. I'm not saying don't plant annuals, have fun with those. Make sure you get your perennials in. Make sure your foundation is based on these nice perennials. I added some more strawberries and some other things too. Let me grab the camera and show you guys those. Like I just said, I added some strawberries. And the reason I did that is because last year we had 3 rows of strawberries. 2 of them did excellent, but 1 just didn't perform as well as I was hoping. So I took that out because I believe that was variety based. So this row here did real well, as you could see, a nice thick mat. When the flowers came out the 1st year, we pulled those off to encourage runners. Now that whole row is nice and full, so we're expecting a good harvest on that one. Here's the one that I just put in about a week ago, maybe a week and a half. Here's the Eversweet. That's a variety we put in here. So we're expecting this to do well, to take off, and be eating those in the coming year. And this variety over here did real well also. Probably the best out of all 3 of them. So I'm expecting a lot of fruit. You'll notice we have a lot of strawberries in all the garden. It's one of my favorite things to eat. The fruit trees growing nicely, creeping though. Really, last year they kind of just slept. As I said, it was the 1st year. So this year we should get some growth on them. As you notice the boards on the ground, that means I planted carrots. You guys know that board trick I showed you, I think last fall, and it's a Bill Mollison technique. Bill is one of my favorite all-time garden legends. He's got one of my favorite quotes. It's a simple one, but I love it. He says, if you want to eat organic food, you've got to grow organic food. You'll also notice here, we've got some garlic coming up. That's a late fall investment from last year. So that investment's gonna be paying off this spring. That's really what gardening's about. Preparation, investing, delayed gratification, all of it coming together for growth and harvests. Some of you may have some work in the garden that you're putting off. Something that needs to be done. For instance, wood chips that need to be moved, trees that need to be pruned, seeds that need to be planted, and you're setting it aside because maybe you don't have the inspiration right now to do it, or we make up these things in our head sometimes to be harder than they are. I'm encouraging you to get out there, take the first step. Sometimes that's all you need to do. Once you get that thing done, that can garner enough inspiration to keep you going the whole entire year. So just take that first step. That's what really will get you moving in the right direction. Like I mentioned, maybe some of you have to get some seeds planted. As you'll notice here, we've got some brassicas all coming up, some cabbages, all different things. And I've got them outside here because I like to keep the temperature relatively cool once they sprout. Good light and keeping them cool when they sprout, that's what will keep them short. If it's too hot, they'll start to get leggy. And you'll notice, looking into the food forest, we've got a lot of things. It's kind of packed in here, but that's how we like to do it. And underneath in the ground, you'll see strawberries Like I said, I love strawberries, so I've kind of transitioned from having raspberries and stuff underneath my fruit trees and moved to strawberries because I love them and I love how they sprawl along the ground. It forms like a nice mat. And we've also got some different kinds of things like currants and stuff underneath the fruit trees. As you can see, this moon glow is going to be loaded this year. The Bing, the queen of the whole entire garden. Love that one. And I'm hoping for some good fruit on the Concord grape this year. I love those grapes, nothing like fresh grapes. And we've also got a number of fruit trees from seed. I'm hoping for fruit on those. We've got a pear that I've never seen fruit on. We're gonna see if that one fruits this year. A number of other apples besides the Prigioni apple. The blackberries are looking real good this year. I just did a pruning video for you guys on that last season. As you can see, we've got a lot of these lateral branches. That's where you're gonna get the fruit. But we also cut down those lateral branches so they're not getting too long and rooting into the ground. Raspberries, we're gonna save those to get some spring-bearing raspberries because those are ever-bearing ones. And I wanna just show you the Prigioni apple over here, how it's doing well. I didn't prune this one just yet. I'm gonna show you guys how I do that. I prune it a little different than my other apples because this is an apple from seed, but it looks like we got a number of fruit spurs. So hopefully we're eating Prigioni apples this year. A number of you have asked about the greenhouse too. How's it doing? And what I've got in there, so I'm gonna bring you inside of there as I walk by the grapes. You can see here, I prune these grapes. These are cane pruned. That's the style I prune these, that's a technique. If you wanna see that in the future, I can show you how I do that. And the reason I do that is because those are American grapes. Those are Catawbas, I believe. So I'll take you into the greenhouse now, show you some of the things. One thing I wanna show you is the supplemental heating that I use in here. So I use a radiating heater. And I've got a temperature set, so when it drops down to like 30, 35 degrees, and we need that added heat, that thing kicks on its own. I've also got a fan in the back, and I'll run that when it's warm. I'll stick it outside of there, and bring some of the cool, nice wind in, nice fresh air, move everything around. And I've also got that window over here on the right, which is nice to be able to open and close. And I'll show you the seeds. So there's a number of things with the seeds, like I mentioned. You don't want the temperature being too high in here. Once the seeds sprout, you want the temperature, I would say, not hotter than like 70 degrees, especially for the brassicas. You want to keep those at a relatively low temperature. That'll keep them short, that'll keep them stocky, and try to get them light. You can see some Asian greens still left in here that I was growing through the winter. Some of those did relatively well. Some tatsoi, some kale, got some purple streaked mizuna like I mentioned before. The seeds are all coming up, they're looking good. We're gonna be adding a lot more. Mostly everything in here is peppers and eggplants, and there are some brassicas, few tomatoes, but I'm still planting the tomatoes. I planted those a little later than the eggplants and the peppers. So let me take you back outside of the greenhouse. There's just a few other things I wanted to show you. One is the hazelnut. This one has more tassels on it than it ever has. So we're hoping for a good amount of hazelnuts from that one. This apple tree is looking pretty good. Hoping for fruit on that. You'll notice we have to prune it relatively aggressively right there so we can walk through and still get some airflow. Got to be able to move in this food forest. And you'll notice some of the stuff I cut. This is only some of the things I cut down. So that's what happens when you have a lot of solar conversion. I don't see that as a bad thing. I see it as a good thing. That means we're growing a lot, and that means we're using the sun and actually forming it into that wood, which we can even bring to the dump, and then I usually come back with wood chips. So it's kind of like a trade-off process. They do the work for me though. And you notice another blackberry over here. Again, we did a good job pruning that blackberry. Cut that down about 2 to 4 feet. Encourage those laterals. That's where the fruit's gonna be. Japanese raisin tree over here as well. Hoping for fruit on that one for the first time. That'd be a lot of fun to show you. And we've got this orange tree over here. Not your typical orange, but still in that family. Fun to grow something like that in the East Coast. And then also, we've got autumn olives back there. New addition, 3 of them. Given to me by my neighbor. He was getting rid of them. He didn't really like the way they tasted. So we figured the chickens would love them. We put them in the chicken pen. And that orange tree, I mean, it's gonna be on the East Coast, but we're in New Jersey. So for zone 6B, that's not very typical. So I think it's gonna be fun to add in. We have a lot of other different things that I'd like to show you, but I don't wanna hold you too long. We've got jujubes in the front. We've got aronias on the side. So we're growing a number of rare stuff, I guess you could say, or different things, oddities. If you guys think there's something I missed, let me know. I always love adding new stuff to the garden. That's today's video, growers. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. This video was more like an overview of what we got going on in the backyard, in the food forests, and kind of a little peek of what we're going to be doing. More detailed stuff is going to be coming, so if you want to see that, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends, ring that notification bell. And again, I want to let you guys know to get out there, get started, take advantage of these opportunities, because I heard someone say that it's not about doing just extraordinary things, it's about doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. And it's springtime now. I've also heard it said that if you're not investing, if you're not planting in the spring, you're going to be begging in the fall. You're going to be lacking harvest. You're going to have that regret. We don't want that. Catch you guys on the next one. Me and Tuck.